Hello to all and welcome to my second video. Thank you to everyone who's watched the first video. It's quite exciting. At the same time, it's scary because it's quite a leap into the unknown when you're doing what I'm doing. It's been a confronting day today because I'm dealing with the reality of what I'm doing. Um, I'm generally quite a quiet person, an introvert, if you wish, painfully shy on occasions. So this is quite a departure from who I am as a person, but it's something I feel I need to do. So again, I'll say thank you to everyone who's watched the video. Initially, when you start something like this, you get excited and you think it's going to go viral, and a million people are going to watch it, and my life's going to change overnight. But obviously, the reality of it is quite different, which is fine. I've had 130 views on the YouTube channel, so that's exciting. We've got 19 subscribers, so over a space of 4 days, that's not too bad. Having said all that, it's quite interesting because, as I say, it's quite a massive undertaking. Really coming out of my comfort zone doing this, and obviously dealing with issues such as changing the world is very can be very chastening because you obviously become a parent, you become present to the reality of what that actually means. How do we change these governmental systems, these economic systems that are in place? More importantly, how does one person do that, if anything? And that's something I've been struggling with today. So making this video has been a bit intimidating because I'm asking myself, well, who am I, to make these declarations that I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, as I did in my first video. I'm just one man. I'm not an overly intelligent man. I have some education, but I work as a trained radiographer, so that's not necessarily outstanding. I'm not a Harvard graduate, a professor, or royalty, or from some kind of eminent background. So, how can someone like me propose or suggest to the world that they can change it, or at the very least, they want to? So it's been a day with a lot of contemplation, a lot of negative energy, but here I am today. And the other thing I've been dealing with as well is obviously the format of this YouTube channel. It's not the most technically glitz and glam, or it's quite basic, and I have to do a lot of work on my technical know-how to make it more exciting, I suppose. But fundamentally, I'm driven by the message that I feel that I have, so I'm not too worried about that. But it's just something else to think about. And of course, I don't know how engaging it is going to be for people to just watch someone read, but I like to reassure myself that at least if people engage with the words, then they can get the message. So it's been an interesting day, but as I said, here I am, and going to make a start with reading the book. And yeah, I suppose as I said in the initial video, my first video, um, quite unprecedented times we are in this present day, with quite a lot of the social issues we're facing, and of course COVID. Um, and there's a very strong sense inside of me that it could also be an opportunity for reflection, for humanity, a big reset, if you wish. Um, Usually, we're just going about our lives unimpeded. Um, but generally, when you have a massive upheaval, is when you get a chance to think. And a lot of things are happening socially. I've mentioned the Black Lives Matter movement already. Um, so it could be a time of a change, a time of transformation, um, particularly something that's going unnoticed because of everything else with the COVID, or at least it's not getting as it's not center of attention. Is the migrant crisis? You know, you have these people which are crossing the oceans and putting themselves in great danger, in great risk um, for a better life somewhere else. And you think to yourself, why in 2020 are we still in a world where people feel they need to cross the Mediterranean or in a little dinghy for a better life with all the advancements that we've made technologically and socially? You'd think we should be really addressing some of these fundamental issues. Personally, for me, when the invasion of Iraq happened, that was quite a pivotal moment in the in this very early century because um, there was it was a fundamental shift because um, it's quite difficult what I'm trying to explain, but for me, I feel it was a very significant moment because that really destabilized the Middle East. Then obviously led to, in many ways, the formation of ISIS. And then you had the destruction of Libya that seems to have all coalesced and it's all come together. And we're facing this migrant crisis, part of which is what's really pushed the shift in Europe to the right when you had the pressure from all these migrants fleeing all these conflicts. Um, and then you obviously had the election of Donald Trump and everything that entails. You just feel there's a lot in the air. And when I look at a situation like that, I say, is it not possible that we can start to imagine a world where people don't have to be having to pack themselves in dinghies and get into the ocean in the search for a better life? Surely shouldn't we be forwarding a lot of our political and intellectual attention to really solving these issues, somehow changing or appending this capitalist system that in many ways we've inherited and it seems to be accepted as the norm or what's right. I'm not an anti-capitalist in any way, shape, or form, but there's something wrong fundamentally when the wealth divide keeps widening. And of course, there are many factors that contribute to that. But shouldn't we be really focusing on what we can do to abate these scenarios where people are not secure in their where they come from? And I'm one of those people because I found myself in England, and it doesn't need to be like that. I mean, that's part of the things that driving me to do what I'm doing now with this YouTube channel. Can we not reimagine the world, reimagine our economic systems and our relationships to money and profit and the profit motive? I'm all for profit like anyone, but Is it really the the uh, the top of the pyramid, the highest system that we could be living under? That's my quest, to really set a forum for discussion of these issues. And I talk about a lot of these things in my book in passing. We will get to that eventually at the end of this video. But I think that we really should be focusing our energies on a fundamental overhaul of all our political, economic, and social systems. We are making incredible advances in technology. I was at my wife's grandmother's place over the last few days, and she's 92, an English lady. And when I speak to her, and she was telling me that in her youth, they didn't have bathrooms in their houses in England. And if you think where we are today, the amount of progress that's been made in her lifetime, shouldn't we be focusing our energies to having a fundamental shift in the whole notion of our human existence and our human relationships to match the rapid technological progress that we're making? That's one of my fundamental questions, is what's the point of all this advanced technology that we are having when we are not advancing our social systems, our economic systems? It surely cannot be about profit. So I hope that gives a flavor of what I'm all about. I'm finding my feet doing this. It's only the second time. And as I said, I'm not anyone from any sort of distinguished background, not Richard Dawkins or some kind of eminent professor or someone from Cambridge or Oxford or Harvard, Yale, or any of these places. I'm just a normal, bog standard guy. And I guess the thing that drives me is I want to see change in the world. And that's why ultimately I'm doing what I'm doing. And I don't know if this video is going to get 20 views, 10 views, and then sometimes you seem to be confronted by the futility of it. Is anyone even listening? But I suppose that's not the most important thing. I guess the important thing is taking action over the things you believe in. And I fundamentally, in my core, believe in the possibility of a transformed world. My son started school 2 weeks ago, and he's mixed race, and part Iranian, part Zimbabwean, part English. And how do we, if you was to fill in a census, you'd be some kind of mixture. But of course, it's not any of that. He's a human being. So what I'm really about is a fundamental rethink of who and what we are. We came out of few centuries of conquest and plunder and colonialism and division in the pursuit of wealth in egregious amounts. But I think we need to move on from that. We need to, just as far as we've come with theories of quantum physics and special relativity. We need some kind of quantum shift in our social imagining of what we are as human beings, and ultimately our wider relationships to the cosmos. So I hope that makes sense. As I say, this is all very new to me, and I'm finding myself in this format. I feel I have a message. So I will then start with the reading of the book. And yes, it's interesting because it's been quite a journey, as I say, with these books. And when I write the way I have written, which is a stream of consciousness, um, sometimes you don't even know what you've written. And sometimes the words don't even seem like they're yours. But I'm fairly confident that the message will be good, and hopefully at some point I can generate a good viewership of this channel and get people really talking. You know, what are we as human beings? Do we really have to be living in these labels racially and all these other things? You know, can we not really redefine our relationships to each other in a way that really changes our human existence forever? I was very convinced that I didn't want children in my younger days because the world is such a horrible place. But they're here now, so it's too late for all of that. And in many ways, it was quite liberating when they came because I could, I suppose, just accept that I am here and they are here. But of course, you worry about the future they're living into. So that's another reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because when it's all said and done, I want to say that I did what I felt I could with the means that I felt I had. And when it's all said and done, that's what all this is about. So I will start I will make a start with the reading, and thank you for listening. And here we go. So the dichotic dilemma. The fabric of life. This book is dedicated to my family, near and far. Prologue. The culmination of this book is a process and result at present of 26 years of human existence, 21 of which were characterized by extreme angst, emotional disillusionment, and difficulty coming to terms with the state of human existence along with my own existence. The early years were a constant battle with mainly the issues of race, as that was the first primary realization, a deep emotional connection with the perceived effects of racism, but also a deep emotional connection with the wider aspects of human suffering. Growing up in Zimbabwe, in Southern Africa, particularly with South Africa as a close neighbor, the function of racial segregation was vividly apparent, further emphasized by a historical perspective into the observation of recent history where Black people were marginalized and generally second-class citizens. Race and human suffering was all I saw. So I've already dedicated quite a lot of time at this in the beginning to the introduction into my second video. So that's as much as I'll read for today. And then of course tomorrow I'll carry on from where I left off. I suppose ultimately what drives me is, in some ways I guess, what drives someone like Jeremy Corbyn, because he does say quite a lot that he wants a world where no one's left behind. In many ways, that's what I want, because human existence is hard enough. But surely we can make strides to make it as comfortable as possible for everyone. So that was a bit of a ramble. I don't know how it's going to come across, but that concludes the second video, and I will see you next time. Thank you.